everybody. We have swapped places. Once again, we are back in the interviewer seat and we are ready to bring on our next speaker.
Our next speaker and our interviewer is none other than Sensei Timothy Stuetz. Timothy is the CEO and founder of Transformations, or is the CEO and founder of Transformations, is a spiritual enlightenment coach, visionary, educator, Reiki Master, and award-winning author of over 325 children's stories and nearly 100 songs. He is a poetic wizard, originator of Tesla 369 Poetry Tyme, and qigong master, creating the Power of Animal Frolics for children of all ages. He specializes in helping people from womb onward thrive in all ways, activate their kundalini, and motivate them to achieve their full potential. Welcome, Timothy. It is a pleasure to have you here again. Thank you so much for being here.
And it's a pleasure being with you always.
It is something that, like I said before, we've been in the same rooms together for a couple of years now and grown to love and adore Timothy. And one of the things that we absolutely love is his centeredness, his spirit that he brings into all of these conversations. And today we're talking about transforming youth into personal and professional black belts. Now, wait a minute. Are you talking martial arts here, or are you talking something a little bit different?
A little bit different. Black belt represents the pinnacle in martial arts. So we're talking about reaching the pinnacle of their full potential in life.
Beautiful. Yes. So let's talk about that, right? In martial arts, we know that the belt colors represent different stages of development. What stages of development do kids go through and adults go through as they're learning? And how can we, help them get to that level that they need to get to?
In general, there's the stage of development in the womb. And learning about, I cannot go into all the details of each of these stages, but that's something that everybody really needs to do if you have children or are thinking of having children, because I didn't discover this until I don't know how old my daughter was. But I just discovered that by having some time between teaching Tai Chi class, finding a book, and it's like, oh my God, look what I don't know. So there's learning that takes place in the womb. For instance, children in the womb here, starting about the age of 5 months, they start to bond to outer sounds. So if you start playing rock music or classical music to your children, they will relate to that and bond to it later in life. If you start reading to your children in the womb, let them get in touch with your loving voice and whatever subjects you want them to excel in, they'll start picking up on it in the womb. It's all vibratory. So, then there's the birth. Go ahead.
So Christina jumped ahead a little bit. She normally asks a question of everybody, but again, you've been in our room so much that we've heard this before. So I know that you were like an accountant. You were worked with numbers, and you were also a minister at one point. And so a lot of the stuff we're talking about is so out of bounds now of where you started from. How did you tell us a little bit about your how you got started from what I said and pivoted into such a grounded humanistic approach towards children?
Well, if I go back and pick up on where Dr. Norma talked about, and what you talked about earlier, Herb, I was one of those sensitive children who said something to his classmates at about 4.5 years old in the playground, and everybody started laughing at me, and I knew I wasn't safe in the world anymore. So I literally made a decision to shut down and went into my head, basically. And yeah, I graduated from college as a certified public accountant and went out into the world and did that for a long time. Transitioned into doing my own seminars, woke up one morning, looked at my partner in bed, said, if Hershey's could make chocolate kisses, I could make chocolate French kisses. And I started making chocolate French kisses. I did learned how to make chocolate, $1,000,000 with a new pet rock. And I learned a lot, but didn't make a lot of money, lost a lot of money. And it was in that candy shop, I got a big box delivered by UPS that I didn't order, and UPS wouldn't take it back. And I opened up the box, and there was 50 little teddy bears looking at me. And loving Hardy Boy books as a child and being a CPA, I needed to find out, one, how they got to me, and they were smuggled into the country. And two, the people that owned them gave me the box of teddy bears, and I carried one in the car with me. And after 2 weeks, I picked it up at a stop sign and said, "Who are you?" And I was surprised. It said Poet Bear. And I wrote poetry at the time. I had just gotten involved with yoga and meditation. And so a lot of societal poetry and things like that started flowing through me. Love poetry. I'd been writing for years. So I packaged my poetry in a little book with the teddy bear in one package 2 years before the big company started packaging stuffed animals with kids' books. My mom took one look at it and said, "That should have been a children's story. You blew it, Timothy." And it's like, okay, Mom, there's nothing in there for kids or about kids. I don't do children's books. And 6 months later, the first story just downloaded, complete. My mom knew me on levels that nobody else I found in this life knows me other than my daughter. And then they've never stopped. So yeah, we're 330 some stories later, and I never intended on writing one. So this has been a gift from God. And in that process, I also transitioned into learning meditation, Reiki, Tai Chi, qigong, and lots of meditative arts, basically because my body was falling apart and I needed to find a different way of being in the world too. So it's all come together through the healing arts and through writing children's stories, which revealed a lot about my own inner self and development as I'm writing the stories. And yeah, I've never gone looking for anything other than to make myself better and to follow breadcrumbs and to follow my heart. You know, if my heart tells me I'm going to make French kisses, I'll make French kisses. I don't care what it means. I'm just going to follow the breadcrumb. And it led me to writing children's stories. And the breadcrumb of my body falling apart led me to meditation, led me to Reiki, which led me to Tai Chi and Qigong. Actually, what led me to Tai Chi was an experience on ecstasy that I did with my Reiki Master. And I just knew I needed to break through I called it the veil. I thought there was a veil between me and life, and I wanted to see behind the veil. So I did a guided ecstasy experience, and I saw behind the veil. My body started doing spontaneous yoga movements that it could never do otherwise. And I got the message to take Tai Chi and didn't pay attention to the message. And 6 months later, my legs blew up from my knees to my toes, and I could barely walk for 6 weeks. And I was away at a spiritual retreat. So the moment I got home, I picked up the telephone and looked in a magazine of healers and found a Tai Chi class. And that got me involved in Tai Chi.
One of the cool things that I'm getting out of this story is that you put yourself away and you went into numbers. And the way you present now, you do not present like a CPA. But again, that was society. That was the numbers. Probably not your mom, but a lot of people, their parents is like, "Oh, you need to do this. You need to become a doctor, a lawyer, or this or that." And what that happened was it started destabilizing your life. You said became unhealthy. Your body was breaking down. And then you got back more into the humanist aspect of it. And that started to bring you clarity and peace. And then you started writing poetry and books for children so that they wouldn't have to wait so long. And so that's kind of the thread I heard. Is that kind of your story?
That's right. In fact, my grandfather on my dad's side said, if you become a doctor, lawyer, or a dentist, I'll pay for your college education. So didn't want to be a lawyer. I hated doctors. So it's like, I'll start dentistry. Well, I changed majors 9 times because that didn't fit for me. So I was searching ever since, finding something. And the only reason I went into accounting because I was good at numbers. That was it. And it took my life falling apart and my body falling apart because I wasn't following that 5-year-old that shut himself down.
And now you're helping 5-year-olds to avoid that.
Anybody and everybody from womb to the time they leave this planet.
Beautiful. So let's jump back to those black belts real quick. What is something that a parent can do to help make sure that their child is basically following your story, not shutting down and moving forward in this authenticity and their path? How can we help make sure that that happens?
Learn about your child. Take the clues from them and do learn about what they're capable of learning at every age. Because there's some ages that they're just not capable of learning things. Mm-hmm. You can't teach a 3 to 4-year-old something that a 12-year-old is ready to learn. So learn about those stages. Birth, what happens in the womb, birth to 18 months, 18 months to 3 to 4 years. I think Dr. Norma mentioned something about things that really get locked in those first 4 years. They get locked in so strong that is one of the reasons why people give up trying to change their life from there on after, especially as adults. You start these exercise programs. Oh, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to do that. Well, your body was formed based on what your mother ate. Every cell developed based upon what your mom ate. You're addicted to what your mom ate. Trying to change that, the cells go crazy. They say, hey, I'm sorry. So you've got to do a lot of overriding. Mm-hmm. Anything from 0 to 4. If you weren't exercising, if you weren't moving, all of a sudden you want to start an exercise program. At some point, the body just says, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm not used to this. Right. You're killing me, because it's going off of that 0 to 4. So, that's a time where we can bring a lot of different activities and different things into our child's life and teach them about changes so that later on they don't feel like they're being threatened when a change comes up. And then there's a stage from 4 to like 11 or 12. And then they're in the teenage years. And the thing that's really important that very few people in modern society realize, that was brought forward by Ken Wilber and Joseph Chilton Pierce. And Joseph is one of the foremost experts on human development. Magic Parent, Magical Child, everybody. Great book, easy to read. But somewhere from the time we're 15 or 19, we are hardwired to find a spiritual teacher. The ancient societies knew that. The parents would take their children to a spiritual teacher because they knew that that spiritual energy needed to be awakened and nurtured. And if that doesn't happen, everything's off. If it does happen, anything that was off prior to that gets reset. So it's literally the magical elixir. And when I was 19, I was sitting in a drive-in movie theater with my fiance, and I heard, "Don't get married." It's like, I never heard a voice like that before. And it's like, what do you mean, don't get married? That's all I knew. That's the path I knew. My parents, following my grandparents, my parents. So I didn't pursue that voice. If I look back, I wonder what would have happened if I did, but I didn't. And I ended up following the marriage route. And that voice was trying to tell me, you have another path. And I kind of knew that after I graduated from college and was a CPA, because all my friends were trying to get me to go to law school or get an MBA because you could make more money and do this and do that. And I looked at him, and something inside of me said, no, there's another school I need to go to. And I didn't know what I was saying, but I knew there was something, the school of life, so, something higher. And it took getting sick and falling apart and everything to find it. But I know from experience that we are hardwired at that young age. And I've talked to other people like Dr. L with Family Circle. He had the same experience at 17. And there's something we all have at that age that we don't recognize because we're not taught to recognize it. So we don't follow it. And what happens when we don't follow it? We know that we can light up every cell of our body, okay, at will. I can turn my body into an instant orgasm, instantly, on my own. Nobody taught me that. But that's what we're looking for out in life. So we find drugs, we find alcohol, we find sex, we find shopping, we find everything to make us feel good, because inside we know we're supposed to be vibrating as light and love in every moment.
So, as you say that right now, our society is so broken and away from that right now, those children at that age are one of the strongest reaching out for that. And so like so many more children are coming to church on their own, looking for that and finding that. And again, because they're not waiting till they break. They're seeing the brokenness in the world, and they're saying there has to be something more. So this generation that we have coming out right now is finding that so much easier, unfortunately, because of how broken so much other stuff is. And so, yeah, that is shifting in some really, really interesting ways right now, if you can pay attention and see it. And it is so important for our parents to be able to see that and to foster that, even if they're not used to it. Let your children go there. Let your children find that, because again, it's going back to who we are, to a created something, and to find that which created us helps.
Let them get high singing in church instead of going to a rock concert and destroying their ears and their soul.
Yeah, and there's this song that by Brandon Lake right now that became #1 like overnight across all the charts. And it's like, and I think this is how I praise, or the song is praise. And you see like videos of children in gyms singing it. Is like, how do so many people know that? And it's because they are pulling that, they are reaching for that. And as they find it, it's like things are changing for the better. And so you leading the way in that, in the stuff that you are doing, and the stuff that you're teaching, and the books that you get out there. So the 100th monkey, it's like, as more people get it, then it spontaneously moves throughout. And so you are totally part of that. And so thank you for all of the stuff that you were bringing in that as well. So how do you feel about what I just said?
I totally agree with what you just said. and we need more avenues and things to help support that in children, and let them find what they're looking for, healthy ways of finding what they're looking for, rather than the societal norms.
Instead of that
literal normal really is being able to light up every cell of your body when you want. Normal is not thinking about the same thing over and over and over and over again. Normal is having a quiet mind attuned to God's will, so that you can literally tune into the harmony of the universe and flow with it. We really don't have to think about a thing if we just allow the universe to carry us. And it's not easy transitioning to that.
No, I've been in it for a while.
Following
our world.
And following the signals, and it's like I learned at one point that if my eyes see something, I'm supposed to pay attention to it. So I was getting packed to go on a trip to an ashram, and as I was leaving my bedroom to go out the door in the morning, my eyes caught a little umbrella. And I don't need that. My mind kicked in immediately. I don't need that.
Right.
I needed it.
What, did you get wet later?
I got more than wet. So I learned from that one incident that when my eyes see something, I'm supposed to pay attention to it. So even if it's a bug on the ground now or a little piece of paper, if my eyes are seeing it, I need to just stop and figure out why am I looking at that? What's it trying to teach me? Does it want to be picked up? Does it, whatever it needs?
My peripheral vision just kind of went, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. I was like, no, I'm focusing here. So like, what am I noticing now?
We have to learn how our intuition talks to us. Some people it's through hearing, some people it's through sight, some people it's just a feeling. And we have to learn how our own intuition talks to us.
Exactly. And it's one of the things we want kids to experience, right? One of the things that practical that parents can do right now is that really encourage your children when they have that instinct and give them permission. Oh, you just did that. What in your mind or what in your body, what had you move forward in that, and help them tune into it, right? And make it quote unquote normal. It's okay to listen to your body and your gut and that intuition. So really help the child develop that as well.
So in your black belt program, how do you start? What is it that children are going to learn? How does this help a child? Can you give us a little more information about how your black belt program works?
So I have a vocational training for anybody from 12 to 18. And I also have one for adults. Or 10-year-olds that are advanced can start. But it's literally a program that teaches them everything that I've learned. I have a unique set of skills of anybody else in the world, and I teach them. I'm looking for children who not only want to excel in life, but want to pass on things that have been handed down for generations. Moving arts, healing arts. And I work with each child individually, whether it's in a group program or not. So what one child might need, another one wouldn't need. But there's a core program they all go through at their own time and their own training. And it's all designed to teach them about their inner powers. And by the time a child is done, they won't have to do the stuff we've been doing. So by the time they get out of that, they're ready to go out into the world totally clear, totally balanced, emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, ready to just continue to grow and to help other people. So it's a way they can earn a very good living anywhere in the world without taking anything with them except themselves, because they have all the capabilities within them. And it doesn't take much. And plus, no matter what any child wants to do or any adult, learning these things will help them in whatever they choose to do. So learning how to focus below the navel, learning how to clear your mind so that you can hear what you're going to do and how to do it, that helps you no matter what you're going to do. Even if you want to do something else, once you learn how to quiet your mind and stay present and follow through with things, everything really becomes much easier. It literally does not mean you're not going to face problems. It literally does not mean you're going to come up against walls. It just means that you're going to be able to recenter yourself immediately. It means you're going to be able to go beyond pain because you've got something that works better than pain pills. It may take 12 hours to kick in. You may feel like you're going to die every moment till then, but all of a sudden everything just disappears like you've never felt bad in your life. So there are ways we all have powers that we just don't use.
Beautiful.
You know, I was blown away when my daughter got hit by a car on her bicycle, and she's alive. But the lady that was the liaison between the parents and the hospital staff, we were walking down the hall about the second night my daughter was in the hospital, and she stopped me and says, "Look at my face. You can't tell that I went through a car windshield 6 months ago, can you?" And I said, "No, I can't." And she literally said that when she got out of the hospital, she and a girlfriend stood in front of the mirror one day for 2 hours. Together, they visualized her face healing. And it did in 2 hours. No scars, nothing. That's the powers we have within us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Timothy, we have come to the end though. This has been amazing. And, just really readjusting the thinking of what we can do, what our kids can do. Would you share with our audience your free gift and your VIP? Because I know there are going to be some people who are going to absolutely want to get a hold of you.
My free gift is a webinar, 3 magic wands for more creative, happier, self-empowered children. And you get 3 magic wands to do that. Plus, you get a way to tune into your own heart so that you never make a wrong decision again. And there's also some guided meditations in there and prayers you can do for your family and children until they're 92, as long as you're alive. I give you some daily things that you can do to empower your children, even if they're not with you. And the VIP gift is a free one-on-one with me.
Beautiful. Thank you so very, very much.
And, all of that is a super powerful gift. So be sure to sign up, upgrade to VIP. It's really amazing that these gifts that people are having to offer. And just for the $47, it is a crazy price because we're trying this, we're out here for the families. So we're making it as available as possible. So check that out. Be sure to sign up so that you get all of these free gifts. And was it 90 minutes with Timothy? That's 45, just 45 minutes with Timothy. That's just crazy. Take advantage of that. So
exactly. And audience, thank you. Thank you for being here. Let's put some love in the chat for Timothy and all of our speakers this morning. Thank you so very, very much for being here, for listening, for giving your wisdom and helping out all of these families. We are coming to the portion of the day where we're actually going to take a little bit of break, because one of the things I do when I put the summit together is that I know I'm dealing with families. I'm dealing with real people, and we can't sit here for 6 hours and not do anything, right? So now you get a 15-minute break until 12:40. At 12:40, we're going to come back with our first panel of the summit, where I get to talk with not only Dr. Norma and Emily and Timothy from this morning, we get to also tap into John and Vera, who will be on later this afternoon as well. So take care of you. Turn off your cameras, go stretch, go get your water, whatever you need. But please come right back, because this is going to be a powerful panel discussion in a few minutes. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And we will see you soon.
It's